Hello and welcome back to the EPCC TV Chefs Share Sessions, done in conjunction with EPCC TV and El Paso Community College Culinary Arts. Back with you as usual, I'm Chef Rosser, and today we're going to be talking about gumbo, and I have a very special guest, one of my students, Latrice Hopkins, who's about to graduate from our program, and she's going to share with you her knowledge about making gumbo the old-fashioned way. So please let us know after the video what you think of it. Also, don't forget to like or subscribe. And let us know what you think of the video and if you have any ideas for future sessions. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Latrice Hopkins. Thank you, Chef Foster, for that excellent introduction. Today we are going to be making gumbo the way that I know how. So if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe. Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing we're gonna wanna do is get our fire started. You're gonna want it at like a low medium heat because we don't wanna just scorch anything, right? We did toast our flour beforehand because that's gonna help us get a darker roux, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do is put some of our bacon in our pan. You hear that sizzle? I love that sizzle, you guys, right? We're gonna render out as much fat as we possibly can from this bacon. Right. And on the midst of that bacon as well, we've got some sausage. This is in-house made jalapeno and cheddar sausage. You could use smoked andouille sausage. You could use ham chunks, smoked ham hock. It's up to you. All right. We're just gonna put probably about half of this in here because we still have all this bacon that's in there. Right. The next thing, as I said, we could use some ham. It is a gumbo. So you guys, when they say gumbo, it is a one-pot sensation. Gumbo really comes from the West African word okra, which is what they used to use as a thickener. But now we use a roux, which is a combination of fat as well as flour. Right? That's why we want to get as much fatty meats in the pan as we can and render out as much of the oil as possible. Because then we're going to go in, we're going to add our flour to make our roux. All right, you guys, we have let all of our meats render. We had that fresh sausage, we had some bacon, a little ham. So now what I'm going to do is take my meat out the pot because I can't make my roux without my meat in my pot. So I got this sheet tray set over here to the side. And yes, I'm using a slotted spoon so I don't lose all of that beautiful grease that we just made, or oil, this wonderful fat. Ooh. Trying to keep as much fat in there as possible. Right? And if you wind up not getting as much fat as you wanted to be able to make as much roux as you want, and remember your roux is going to depend on the size of your pot. So I can already tell by my size of my pot and how much fat is in here, I'm going to need to add a little bit more oil, because I like to have a darker, thicker gumbo. Some people like to have a more loose gumbo. It is really up to you. It is your personal preference. Gumbo literally is one of those things that everything can go into the pot. If you've ever seen the movie The Princess and the Frog, when they say, hey y'all, Tiana made a pot of gumbo, you can throw anything in that pot. Today's gumbo is gonna have some chicken, a little sausage, some ham, bacon, and some shrimp, all right? So we hear that sizzle going. So what we're gonna do now is take our toasted flour, and I'm gonna add about half of what's in the skillet, maybe a little more than half. You know, you gotta love cooking, it's an exact science, right? My grandma said things are not ready until they're ready, and whatever your ancestors tell you is what you're supposed to listen to. So that's what we're gonna go with. Y'all see that pretty brown color that it's already making, right? If you feel like it might be a little too dry, you can always add a little oil, but remember your roux is supposed to look like a paste, all right? So, and as that flour cooks out, it's gonna loosen up some, and it's gonna give you more of a glue, I guess, consistency, which makes sense because it's the thickener. Now, they used to use okra as thickener. Some people still do. It really just depends on what part of the world you're in and how you want to cook your gumbo. Some people will use gumbo filet and use it as a thickener. I use roux, y'all. And to me, I like a dark roux. So I want my roux to be about the color of milk chocolate. All right, so right now we're probably at like a light peanut butter complexion. So we're gonna have to go, and a good roux will take you about a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on if you toasted your flour ahead of time. If you toasted it ahead of time, then we can come in on this caramel color that we have going, and it is gonna take us probably about another 10 minutes to get that beautiful milk chocolate color that I want, right? So let's just take our time. There's no rush in gumbo. You're supposed to put all your love and admiration into it, all right? All right, y'all. Remember I said I like to have that darker colored roux. So here we are in our pot, and you noticed all that fat was absorbed by our flour, right? So you can leave it here, most of us do, or you could take it a step or two further and make it into a dark chocolate looking. It is completely up to you and what you want to do. It's your gumbo, honey. Do your gumbo the way you want to do it, all right? Me, I'm going to leave mine here, and I'm going to start adding in my veggies. Now, also remember, too, that you can make gumbo in masses, and you can go ahead and put it in mason jars and put it in the refrigerator to use at a later time. Just make sure that you label your roux, and it should last you for at least a good 6 months to 6 to 8 months, really. All right, so during hurricane season, that's usually what happens. We make big pots of roux, we go ahead and jar them up, and that way we have them set off to the side, because hurricane season usually falls into cold weather, and what's better in cold weather than a nice hot pot of gumbo, right? So we are going to start off with some onion, some nicely chopped onion, okay? We're going to put all of that good flavor up in here. Now remember, when you're making a gumbo, your biggest thing is that you want flavor in your pot. All right, everything you do is all about the flavor in your pot. So whatever you add, make sure that your flavors go together, right? And you can go ahead and season as you go. Me, I'm gonna add in all my vegetables, and then I'm gonna add my salt, my pepper, my cayenne, some fresh thyme, right? Here we have some bell pepper. We got red and green, you guys. We're gonna add that on in there. And I know it seems like a lot, but remember, you guys, it's gonna cook down, all right? We're gonna season it, it's gonna cook down, and you want a thick and hearty gumbo. Like, you don't want just flavored water. If that's the case, get you a can of broth and then go ahead and just heat that up, right? Then we're gonna add a little bit of celery. Celery, and I can live, make or break, die without it, you know, whichever one. So now all of this, I'm gonna go ahead and continue cooking it. And you notice that my roux is coating all of my vegetables, all right? So that's also another general eye test that you can look at to make sure that your roux is coating all of your vegetables, because you know then that one, your flavor is gonna seep into your roux, and two, you have enough thickener in your pot that you're not just gonna come out with a very thin soup, okay? Oh, I keep beating that pot. My mother would be like, why are you beating my pot, right? So yeah, we got a little bit of salt. Don't be scared, don't be scared, right? It's gonna work out. We have some onion powder. We're gonna sprinkle some of that in there. I know we put in a good portion of onion, but we still want some of that flavor and seasoning. We have some garlic powder. Now you could go ahead and saute up some fresh garlic and add it in with your vegetables. Again, it's your gumbo, it's up to you, right? And of course, we got some cayenne. Now, if you like me and you get a little lazy sometimes, you can always use Tony's, or you could use some Slap Your Mama. Again, your gumbo, your pot, okay? We're gonna use some pepper. And then we got some fresh thyme. Y'all, that thyme is gonna add like this beautiful aromatic, like, oh my gosh. I don't even really know how to describe it, but when you taste it and when you smell it, you're gonna know. And it's gonna be like, ooh, that's what I was missing, right? So we're just gonna get all this toasted off. Then we're gonna add in some of our stock. So y'all give me a moment to let all this toast up and cook down, and then we'll get ready to add this beautiful gumbo stock that we created, and I'm gonna tell you all about that too. All right, y'all, we have let these vegetables cook down some. Like I said, it's your gumbo, your pot. I like mine a little chunkier. Some people will sweat their vegetables to the side and then go ahead and add them into the pot because that gives it a little bit more flavor. If that's what you like, do what you like. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my stock. Now, you can use water. You could if you want it to be basic. There's nothing basic about a Louisiana gumbo, honey. So please, put some respect on it, okay? We're gonna use this beautiful corn stock that my chef inspired me to make, because Chef Rosser said, why would you use bland chicken stock when we have all this roasted corn? So I have roasted corn stock. I put corn cobs, a little fennel, some salt, pepper, bay leaves, and onion when I made the stock, all right? So it should be a good fit to go into, oh, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Shh, yes. All right, I didn't want to just dump the whole thing in because y'all, I'm messy and I will make a mess. So we're gonna ladle it in nice and lovely. So when I was little, every Christmas, my poppy would make gumbo. And our gumbo would be a seafood gumbo. So it would have shrimp, Dungeness crab. Oh my God, it would be so good. I'm getting excited thinking about it now. Look, can't even keep my hands steady. So, and usually in Louisiana, you know, most people think of gumbo with rice, which they do, right? But they also eat it with a side of potato salad. So maybe that'll be the next episode we'll do, show you how to make a good potato salad to go with a good gumbo, right? So y'all see how that stock came in and loosened up that roux and all those vegetables. And honestly, y'all, I might need a bigger pot, not gonna lie. But it'll be all right, we're gonna make it work, okay? So I have the meat that we cooked off earlier, right? And if you noticed, some of the fat has escaped from the meat, which is good, because the more fat that you have in your pot, the more you're gonna have to skim later on. So if you can get most of that fat out of there now, then please do so, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and put all of our goodies back into our pot, right? Uh-oh, see, I told y'all, I'm gonna make a mess. And then I also have some chicken that I seared off earlier. Oh, that's hot. I had some tongs. There they go. The chicken that I seared off earlier. Why? Because I'm not trying to wait around another 85 years for my chicken to cook in my gumbo, right? And everything else has been cooked off, so why would I put raw chicken in my gumbo? You know, sometimes common sense ain't so common, but we gonna use a little bit of it. Right? And this is how my granny would have seared off the chicken. She would have took the chicken out, put the vegetables in the pan to cook it with all that seasoning that's in there, and then put those veggies in that pot, okay? But I am an 80s baby. We do things a little differently from time to time because we don't have the patience Granny used to have, right? So now that we got everything in our pot, y'all look, I can't even lift the pot. If I lift it, y'all, everything gonna fall out. Our pot is looking delicious. I have some tasting spoons here. I'm gonna grab one, and I just want to taste to see what we got. That's money right there. Oh, I feel a little bit of heat. I can taste that thyme. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt because I didn't season my pan. And of course, the staple, a good bay leaf. Honey, you cannot make a gumbo without some bay leaf. And remember, bay leaf is money and luck. So we're gonna add a little more up in there because we could use both of those, okay? I'm gonna add just a pinch more of the thyme because I love that aroma and that flavor when it comes through. I also, if y'all notice, I have some shrimp sitting over here. It's going to take at least 45 minutes for my gumbo to really cook down. And if you notice that it's getting thick, then you can go ahead and continue to add stock to it. But I'm gonna wait until the last minute to cook my shrimp, especially since they're so small, the residual heat is gonna cook those shrimp off. So I don't wanna put them in too soon because then they get overcooked. All right, so y'all bear with me. We got a good 45 minutes to an hour. Or like my granny would say, a gumbo is a gumbo when it's a gumbo. All right. Ooh, look at all that flavor. All right, you guys, so we have come to the point where our gumbo has been simmering, but if you notice, we do have some fat content that's up here at the top. So we want to skim that off because we don't want to have all that fatty taste in our mouths. So go ahead, use the smallest spoon you have to go ahead and skim it off. And as you do that, try not to get all of your veggies and meat and stuff in there because that's all that flavor and we don't want that to go anywhere. But we are looking good. It's smelling delicious. Y'all, I wish I could smell this with me right now. And I know I got my baby spoon, but we're gonna make it do what it do. And while we are waiting on this to finish, we are gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and start making some rice to go with our gumbo because what's gumbo without a little bit of rice, okay? So I got some medium grain rice because that's what we use in Louisiana. I got the smallest baby pot I could find. We're gonna put our rice in, our beautiful gumbo stock that we used, right? We're gonna use the same thing to flavor our rice with. Now y'all know a rice is a 2-to-1 ratio. So whatever one ratio you have for your rice, you're gonna use 2 times the liquid. We're gonna pour that right in with our rice. We're gonna turn it on. We're gonna let it come to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna cut my fire down. I'm gonna cover it with some foil because I don't have a lid. Yes, it's Louisiana style cooking, baby. We're doing it in a little country, okay? And then I'm gonna cover it with some foil. We'll turn our fire down, let that simmer for about 20 minutes, and we should have a delicious, hearty meal that's gonna last us at least until I say seconds or thirds because who gonna eat just one bowl of gumbo? All right, so y'all stay with me, okay? Ooh, y'all, it's been about 45 minutes. All right, we've let this simmer and look at this beautiful coloring that we have on this gumbo, honey, and it smells delicious. So from here, I did add a little bit more salt because I tasted it and I was like, oh, I think it needs a little bit more salt. I added just a tad bit of broth because it was a little thick for my liking, so I wanted to make it a little looser. So let's recap. First thing we did, we rendered our meat down, right? We used the oil from our meat, we added our flour, we made our roux. Remember, you can make big batches of roux to put in the refrigerator for a later date. It'll last you 6 to 8 months. Then we added in our holy trilogy, which is onion, bell pepper, and celery. After which we did that, we let it cook down for a little bit. We added our meat back in, including the chicken legs that we seared off a little bit earlier. And then we added our delicious corn stock that we made. So from here, you can take your chicken legs out if you choose to and pick the meat off of them, or you can leave them in the pot, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just leave them in the pot, and whoever happens to get a chicken leg, it's a blessing, okay? We put enough in there to make sure the whole family can get some. And we also made some rice. You guys, I made my rice all cute. Y'all see that? Ain't it precious? All right, so The last thing we're gonna do is add our shrimp. Remember I told you we were using some smaller shrimp. So we're gonna go ahead and add those to the pot, and we're just gonna go ahead and let them cook off of the residual heat, because it does not take shrimp long to cook. And the last thing you wanna do is overcook your shrimp. So whether you use white shrimp, if you happen to use Gulf shrimp, whichever way it is, you'll know that they're done when they start turning a little pink. So now that I put those in there, I'm just gonna let my gumbo come back to a boil. And once it does that, honey, we're gonna serve it in this bowl, and we are going to be ready for a good old taste test. Are y'all ready to taste it? Because Lord knows I am. I ain't ate all day. I have been waiting for this moment, all right? So, don't forget to render off the fat of your pot. As your pot boils, you'll get that fat that comes to the top. So remember, the less amount of fat that you use, the better. Whatever fat you put in your pot needs to be soaked up by your flour, all right? So we're just gonna give that a minute to boil, and then we're gonna get ready to serve it into our bowl. Y'all, I'm so excited about this. It really does take me back to childhood. I would wait all year long for my papi to make his delicious seafood gumbo. And even though this only has shrimp, cause you know, EPCC didn't give me Dungeness crab today, but we'll work on it for the next showing, all right? All right, y'all, so remember I told you we put our shrimp in and we were waiting for our gumbo to come to a boil. So honestly, when I go visit Southwest Louisiana or I go visit my sister in Mississippi, we always use those beautiful Gulf shrimp. Remember to clean your shrimp properly, okay? Make sure you shell them, devein them on both sides, the upper side and the lower side, as well as taking the tail off, because nobody wants to enjoy a bowl of gumbo and then you're biting into a shrimp tail, all right? Now, our boil is just about happening, because we want to make sure that everything in our pot is cooked correctly, because we want to give everybody the full gumbo experience, right? We want you to get that sleepy mode, that good full belly, not that sick mode because we forgot to cook something particularly in our pot. And just one more time, y'all see my rice? Ain't she cute? Okay, and yes, I said she, because it's mine and I can, all right? Now, if you had anything extra to add to your gumbo, like I told you we made the roasted corn stock, we could have took some of that roasted corn, we could have added that into our gumbo. We could add crab into our gumbo. A lot of people in the Gulf, they eat blue crabs with their gumbo. Like I said, a side of potato salad. Now, I know it sounds weird, potato salad with gumbo, honey, the first time I tried it though, I fell in love. So don't knock it until you try it, okay? So we are gonna see what's going on. It looks like everything has come together. We are looking delicious. So we're gonna get ready to pour this into our bowl, all right? Don't forget those big chunks of veggies. They've been in there, they've cooked down. We got a little bit of shrimp, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of sausage, ham, bacon. That is a good spoonful of gumbo, okay? So we're gonna just ladle that on around our rice, because we wanna make it look a little bit pretty, okay? Because that's what we do at Culinary 101. We make things look pretty. We take the humblest of foods and make it look delectable. All right. Y'all see that? Can y'all get that? I need to hold it up. Hold it closer to the camera. Can y'all smell that through the camera? You see that steam coming off that bowl? Okay. So, I got me a spoon here, because we're gonna have to try this gumbo out. Right, y'all ready? Give me a little bit of rice. Ooh, I know that's gonna be hot. Y'all, I'm finna burn my mouth because I'm excited. Ooh, good and spicy too. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And look at my chicken, y'all. It's just breaking away with my spoon. Perfection. Y'all, don't forget, my mouth full. My granny would slap me. Like, share, comment. Let me know, what would you add to your gumbo? Is there anything in particular that you would like to see put in your pot? Send in your recipes, make your own videos, interact with us. Let us know how we did, all right? And I look forward to seeing y'all the next time. And I hope y'all appreciate it and y'all loved it. Mwah.
Once again, thanks for joining us for this episode of Chef's Share with EPCC TV and El Paso Community College Culinary Arts. If you liked the video, please leave comments. Don't forget to subscribe or like the channel, and let us know if you have any ideas for future episodes. Again, thank you, Latrice, for helping us make some gumbo the old-fashioned way, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.